Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mupo and Friends. Our special guest today is a highly acclaimed theater actor whose rich body of work on Broadway has won him numerous, and I mean numerous, awards for his performances. He is well known and loved and forever remembered for his work on Jekyll and Hyde. He also adds to his expertise directing, television, and film. Please welcome Robert Cuccioli. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Michelle. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Great to have you.
All right. So I want to ask the first question because I'm really impressed with you. So you were born in Hempstead, New York, and you originally were in finance. What led you to go into acting? Like, were you in schools, like in school plays, I should say?
Yeah, besides temporary insanity, yeah, I did a lot of school plays. I did a lot of community theater. I was in a rock band. I was in an a cappella group. I did glee clubs all through, my younger years and high school and college. And I never thought of doing it as a career. I never thought it even was a career. And I was actually on the path to becoming a corporate lawyer. I was going to St. John's University in Queens for finance, and I was, for fun, I would do shows with a drama club there called the Chapel Players. And my senior year, I was doing a show, Godspell, and people said, you're good. Did you ever think of doing this as a career? And that's when the light bulb went off. It was something that I always loved doing. Um, and I said, if I don't give this a try, I'm going to say, what if all my life? I don't want to live with that. So I didn't know anything about the business. I didn't know anybody in the business. I didn't know what I was doing. I just got some really bad headshots made up, and I made up a resume, and I started doing auditions and whatever. But in the meantime, I already paid for the sheepskin, so I figured I might as well use it. And I got a job on Wall Street for E.F. Hutton, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was a very prominent Wall Street firm. And I was a financial consultant for them for uh, about 2 years. But while I was working there, I was pursuing an acting career. So I would go from Wall Street up to the theater district, and I'd try to get auditions and slide my picture and resume under doors, literally trying to get agents. I finally got a job at the Light Opera of Manhattan, which was a repertory company that did operetta and Gilbert and Sullivan. And it was a rep company that worked 52 weeks out of the year. So while you were performing one show, you were rehearsing the next. And they accepted me in the chorus. I was making a whopping $35 a week. And I was still continuing to work on Wall Street until I started getting roles, and I couldn't do both anymore. So I gave up Wall Street, and I never looked back. And that
Wow.
was, and that was it. I was probably around 25 when that happened.
You had your whole life ahead of you still. What was that feeling making that decision to leave a potentially very lucrative career in corporate for one that obviously was a passion, but income, one of uncertainty.
Yeah, I I was young and I was naive,
Mhm.
and I didn't give it too much of a second thought. It's something that I just felt. It felt right. It felt like it was something I had to do, and of course I had to contend with my parents, and that wasn't fun. They did not accept that idea one bit. It was fine when it was a lark, and it was something I did for fun. But when it became something serious, then it wasn't a good scene.
What do they think now?
Well, unfortunately, they're both passed. They My parents
No,
died over 30 years ago.
no, but I
Um,
mean after that, like what did they think?
oh well,
Once you
they didn't.
started, yeah.
That's what I'm getting to. They didn't get to see a whole lot of the glory.
Oh,
They
oh.
saw a lot of, the struggle and trying to get ahead and trying to get jobs. But what they did get to see was me playing Lancelot opposite a star that they recognized, who was Richard Harris. And when that happened, then I think they started to come on board like, okay, maybe he can do this.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to be okay. Because they were just afraid of, they were afraid of the
It's
unknown. They were afraid of me failing, or afraid of me getting hurt or something. That's all it was. It was them being parents.
They wanted the best for you, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I know they're watching over you right now, extremely proud of you. So,
Oh, thanks.
uh,
Thank you.
yeah.
definitely. So you said you were in a rock band. What rock band were you in?
I was in a 50s rock band. It was called the Remember Band. Horrible title, very unoriginal. But we did doo-wop and 50s rock, and we just had a blast. And I listened to some tapes that I had of some of those days, and we were not good, but we were fun. We had a great time.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I was also in a five-man a cappella group that was called Egg Cream Revival,
I,
and that
that
was a lot of fun too. We
I
had a
can
great
see
time.
that because you have an amazing voice.
Thank
So
you.
with getting back to your degree in finance, if you could recommend what everyone could invest in, what would it be? Do you still keep up with
Oh
it?
my gosh, I have no idea. I've been so out of the market and for so long, I don't really keep tabs on it all that much. So uh, I would be loath to give anybody
All
any
right, fair
advice.
enough. Fair enough.
Let's talk about your theater career and being in the theater world. What attracts you primarily to theater as opposed to film and television? Was it what was available, or was it a direct choice that you made that you love?
Uh, I think it was initially the uh, what was available to me.
Mhm.
Um, as someone who didn't really have any training, um, and didn't for a while. I mean, I started off pretty raw. Didn't have any training, and I could sing. So that got me the initial work, the singing, and um, and then I started training as a singer, and then I started training as an actor, and uh, so when you're singing, you gravitate towards musicals, and there weren't a lot of musicals on film or on TV. So that left me the stage, which I love. I love the immediacy of it, and I love working directly with an audience. Um, Film and TV is something that I've had to get used to, and I've also had to get some doors open for me in that regard. And it's a totally different kind of experience, but I love it just as much.
Hmm. Well, does everybody know everybody in the theater industry in New York anymore? Because I know back in the day they did. But I know times
Yeah, there used to
changed.
be an old adage that there's only 200 people in the business, and you end up working with all of them at one point or another. These days, though, I will look at uh, casts, and I will also be uh, hired to be in a cast, and I don't know anybody. So I'm like, all these young, wonderful talents that are coming out of school or have been in the world, the theater world, for a short amount of time. I'm just getting to know them, and I'm like, it's remarkable the pool of talent out there, and the young pool of talent out there. It's really incredible.
Hmm. What was your first experience when you moved out of your family's house? You moved to where? New York first?
Yeah,
Did you have roommates? Did it was like
I did. I had some roommates that were from the business world still. I mean, I had some friends that were that I worked with at EF Hutton. So I think the first place first apartment I had was, I think there were four of us in a 3-bedroom apartment, and we would rotate who got the single room. You know, it was two people had to share a room, and then you ended up like every couple of months you'd rotate, so you had a room to yourself, kind of a thing. But yeah, we worked. I worked with some of the people that I lived with some of the people that I worked with at Hutton, and then I got a place out in Queens, and then I moved back into Manhattan again.
And there you are.
And
And
here
you
I am.
you're forever remembered for your iconic dual roles in Broadway's Jekyll and Hyde. You received a Tony nomination, the Jefferson Award, the Outer Critics Circle Award, the Drama Desk Award, and if that wasn't enough, the Fanny Award. So, for Outstanding Actor in a Musical, that's wow. I mean, that's extremely
it is. I
impressive.
got goosebumps
What
every
what
time
an
I hear it.
incredible recognition. Um, do you feel that Jekyll and Hyde shaped your career? And if so, how did it shape it?
Well, yeah, it was one of the primary things that shaped my career. My career was taking a certain shape prior to that, um, and and beautifully too. I thought that I was very proud of the work that I had accomplished up to that point, and I think it all led me to that moment.
Mhm.
Um, and it's interesting because my agent at the time, when I got the job as in Jekyll and Hyde, she said, "This will be a blessing and a curse." And I didn't really fully grasp what she was saying, but I totally understand now because it was both a blessing and a bit of a curse. Um, a blessing in that uh, it gave me renown. It gave me a certain cachet that allowed me to branch out and to do other things. Like my acting career began to blossom after Jekyll and Hyde because people were willing to take a risk because I was a name. And they're like, well, he'll put butts in the seat, so yeah, we'll hire him for to do some Shakespeare or some contemporary plays. Opportunities that I probably would have not have gotten as readily. Uh, the the dark side of it, the Hyde side of it, I guess, is that it did sort of categorize me
Mm.
in a certain way, and it's taken a while to chip away at that. It's amazing how one's career can be constantly about chipping away molds that people make of you, and
Right.
sometimes you end up making of yourself. But yeah, I've had to battle that stereotype every once in a while, and so that was the not so good part of it.
Hmm. Now you just performed online in Bernard Shaw's play Man and Superman. Can you tell us about those roles and how you became involved with this production?
Our world right now is is this computer. and uh, I know Zoom intimately, and all sorts of streaming services now. It's yeah, this is what an actor's life has become during this pandemic, and uh, there have been a number of readings and rehearsals and workshops and uh, some amazing projects that have come up. Uh, People are still working on plays. They're still writing. They're still composing, and they want to get their work out there, and they want to work on it so that they can so it'll be ready to go once we all can hit the stage again. So it's been exciting projects like that. Some new works, some classic pieces. There's a lot of things that I've done that have been benefits for the Actors Fund, which has been a vital lifeline to all of us in the entertainment industry. So anything that we actors can do to raise money for that organization, we do. And I've done quite a lot of them. Recently, I just did a production of a reading of Man and Superman, which is by Bernard Shaw, for Stars in the House. And all the funds, the donations for that go to the Actors Fund. I also did an audio version. It's called what was it called? It was called a surround sound experiment of Macbeth. So it was just an audio. It wasn't a visual thing at all. It was like it was like listening to The Shadow again, or listening to War of the Worlds. It was just everyone people just got to listen to it, and it's amazing what that opens up when you take your visual out of it. Your mind just you use your imagination as to what you're actually hearing and what you think that is. So that was an exciting thing to do. And before the pandemic hit, I was in rehearsals for a Eugene O'Neill play called A Touch of the Poet with the Irish Rep. And we went through all 4 weeks of rehearsal, and we're just about to start tech when the world shut down. So we had to stop everything, stop the presses. And that was back in March. Go ahead a couple of months, and the Irish Rep contacted me and all the other actors and said, we are filming the show. So they said, would you be willing to do a film version of it? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I have no idea how that's going to work, but yeah. So what they did is utterly remarkable. They sent every actor their costume, their set piece, which meant they sent you a table and chair. They sent you all your props and all the props that you shared with somebody else. They sent you a green screen. They sent lighting equipment, and they sent a stand to hold your cell phone. So we would film ourselves from our own home in our costume with our set pieces and our props, with a green screen behind us, and using our phone, and then we'd use our computer, and that would be on Zoom, so we could communicate with the other actors in the scene and also with our director. And you'd put the computer behind the phone so that the director could see what the frame was of what you were shooting. Then they put that all together, and they edited it with a brilliant editor, put this thing together into a film with a set superimposed on the green screen. And they were actually able to put actors together on the screen, 2, 3, 4 people, on a screen. So it was basically it was a film. It was like watching Masterpiece Theater, on Channel 13 or something.
Wow.
It was pretty amazing what they accomplished.
That's brilliant.
Which just goes to the ingenuity
Yeah.
of, shoot, what's the mother of invention? Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Right.
So it's just incredible what 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 this has changed, the change that this has caused, and who knows what's going to come out of this this time. I mean, things will change, but who knows how.
I think it's just amazing the way that actors have not only come together to support each other through this time, but the creativity. Instead of putting their swords down, they have just found ingenious ways, like what you described, to go on with the craft. The show must go on, to keep going. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
sure. It just goes to show that it gives some hope to
Yes.
it gives some hope to people and some hope to our profession, that it looks so dire now, uh, especially to those in our profession and some others that have just not been able to come back and won't be able to come back until there is a, a vaccine, and also until people feel comfortable being in close proximity with others again. And uh, just to know that you you cannot kill creativity. It's going to find a way.
Amen
It's
to
like
that.
life will
Amen.
find a way,
Yep.
And like I don't know what it's going to morph into or how things will change, but the one thing about people in my profession are that they're adaptable, and we'll find a way through it.
Hmm.
I think that's brilliant. Brilliant. Now, I want to talk about Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark. You played the Green Goblin, aka Norman Osborn. Tell us about your role in that. And also, I know there was a little bit of drama that went on set with the director. Um, when things like that happen and you're working with an obviously a very tight and significant cast, how does that affect the morale? How do the rest of you handle it when you're doing theater like that? Because it's so important. You're live and you're uh,
Yeah, uh, that that was not that long ago. I mean, it was 2012 was when I was wow, that's 8 years ago. So, but I guess it was a long time ago, but it didn't seem that long ago. Uh, that I was in that show, and I played it until it closed. I replaced Patrick Page, who originated the roles, and uh, it was an incredibly fun time. It was uh, they were roles that were a blast to play. You could totally expand yourself, and to just break all sorts of lines and all sorts of limits. I just was able to have a grand time doing it. And they gave me that permission to find the characters myself, and to build my own sandbox. You know, um, I didn't, because I wasn't in the original cast. I didn't I wasn't there during a lot of the drama of what happened. There were some accidents that happened, and the what happened with Julie Taymor, and her leaving the show, and um, Philip William McKinley coming in and replacing her as director. and the whole show got revamped. They called it Spider-Man 2.0. You know, it got um, reworked a lot and changed. I think what that ended up doing was just making the cast, making the crew, making everybody involved with the production closer.
Mhm.
They all banded together because like when you go through a war together, when you go through, you wear certain scars and you're wearing the same scars, and it makes it makes you a closer family. And what was beautiful about it is that they adopted me into their family, and I just became part of it, and felt the warmth and felt like you know, it was a wonderful experience. I enjoyed every minute of it.
It built strength among you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Now, you're also a director, obviously, and a great one at that.
thank you.
You directed, I guess it was William Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice, um, at the Shakespeare Theater in my state, New Jersey. What got you interested in directing? Because I'm obsessed with it.
You know, it came like a lot of things in this profession, they just show up for me, and I sometimes don't realize that it's something I want until it shows up. Uh, Jekyll and Hyde just closed on Broadway, or it was about to close on Broadway, and the Westchester Broadway Theater, which, you know, this is we'll talk about. Maybe talk about this in a second. Is that they are they are now closed, but this is a recent event, and this is because of COVID. But anyway, they contacted me and they said we have gotten the rights to do it. They were one of the first regional theaters to get the rights to do Jekyll and Hyde once it closed on Broadway. And they contacted me and they said, nobody knows the show better than you. Would you like to direct it? And I think all the blood drained from my body, but I was able to muster a yes. And after I got the phone, I said, my God, what did I just agree to? But it was one of the best things I could have done. It was terrifying. And I worked my butt off, uh, trying to make sure I knew what I wanted. I knew, uh, because I'm dealing with people that are my peers that I had to direct. And I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing because I didn't want to embarrass them or myself. Um, and I came up with my own concept of the script and my own idea of the production, because it also had to be done in a thrust stage as opposed to a proscenium, which is something I was always used to. So I had to readapt the show, which was a good thing because I had to totally shake it up. Um, and that was my first foray into directing. Now, I know you asked about The Merchant of Venice. Um, I got to direct Jekyll and Hyde a couple more times, and then Bonnie Monty, who is the artistic director of the Shakespeare Theater in New Jersey. They are another theater company that I consider my family. Uh, so I've done many Shakespeare with them, and actually it was Bonnie that approached me with my first Shakespeare. And she said, "You can do this. Would you like to?" Um, and then she approached me and said, "Would you like to direct The Glass Menagerie?" And again, the blood drained from my body, and I said something really ridiculous, like, "Well, let me read it." Like I needed to figure out whether it was a good play or not. I don't know, but I read it and I said, yeah, I can do this. I understand this. I can do this. So I called her and I said yes. And that was the first play that I got to direct. And then she called me back and she asked me to do my first Shakespeare, which was The Merchant of Venice. And that's like no easy Shakespeare to pull off. Um, and I was very honored to do that. I love directing. I love working with actors, um, being forced to explain choices, to put them into words only helps me as an actor because I do things very instinctively and I don't really uh, think about it a whole lot. But when you're forced to put them in words, then it hits you on a different level. And so I had to learn how to do that with my fellow actors and explain what I was looking for and what I wanted them to do or try in clear terms. I also got to stretch my muscles in other ways, like set design. And not that I designed the set, but that uh, I collaborated with the set designer on what it would look like and what we needed and how it will work and who's going to work it and the wardrobe costume design and wigs and uh, all sorts of things that I never expected to be a part of. I remember uh, when I was doing Jekyll and Hyde for the first time, I was directing for the first time. I was in my leading lady's dressing room, standing behind her, looking in the mirror, futzing with her wig, trying to figure out, the best way to put the braid or something that take it away from her head for her face and everything. And I'm thinking, I never expected that I would be doing anything like this. So it's been a really wonderful and enjoyable experience, and I want to do more of it.
Being on the other side of the stage, uh, it was quite an experience for you. So, did you feel that that enriched you as when going back as an actor? The fact that you now had directing under your belt, did that change the not so much the respect, but just the way that you approached your acting in roles?
Uh, I think I think respect is a good way to put it. I I never went to school for theater, uh, so I didn't get the advantage of learning theater history by learning. Uh, I mean, I'm sure that when one goes to school for acting, that you take a directing course, that you take a set design course, that you take a lighting course. I mean, you understand all aspects of it. I never had that opportunity. So this was a shotgun way of learning all that. And not that I didn't respect it to begin with, because I I respect everybody and everybody's aspect, everybody's job in this in business and in putting together a show. I mean, it takes a village, a big one, and I always respected that. But it was great to have the on hand uh, insight into what that really entails.
Interesting. So you were already you're already in a union, right? As an actor. So as a director, do you have to join a different union? And how does it work when a theater wants to hire union actors, but the theater's not a Broadway theater? That's questions that were coming in because we asked a couple of people to, did you have any questions? They're fans, actually. And those are some of the questions that they came up with, which were pretty good.
Explain say the last one
So,
again, the last part of it.
so they said, how does it work when the theater wants to hire union actors, but the theater is not a Broadway theater? So I'm assuming they want off Broadway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Broadway or off Broadway or regional theater. There are there are a number of contracts in our profession, and there is a Broadway a production, what's called a production contract, which is a Broadway contract or a tour. There are different levels of those contracts. There is a off-Broadway contract and different levels of that. There are regional theater contracts, which is uh, a LORT or a cost contract. These are all, uh,
So it's similar to the music business.
yeah, they're all different contracts, and they generally all require union actors to be hired. However, some of them uh, allow a percentage to be non-union actors, um, and it's a percentage, between how many you can do in that, and how it's negotiated. I'm not entirely 100% sure. I don't have that knowledge really, but I think some of it has to do with um, how big the theater is regarding ticket sales and uh, that sort of things. And if they are considered a teaching institution, like uh, theaters like the Shakespeare Theater in New Jersey is also like a teaching institution as well. So they have apprentices and they have non-union uh, non-union actors that they hire for their productions as well. So sometimes it's a mix, but when you're on Broadway, you're generally under a union contract.
Well, I have a friend at the George Street Playhouse, and I'm going to demand that they bring you back there because they just redid that. They did. As soon as this, I mean, I know they're not filming now, but as soon as COVID is over, I think. And you know what surprises me? Like
I love the George Street, and I know they've got a new theater, so I'm
it's
dying to work there.
beautiful. Oh my
Yeah,
God, it's crazy.
I did a benefit for them for that. Yeah, so it's
I was in
I love very
shock
much.
when yeah, like I drive by there weekly. I used to live in New Brunswick and I used to see it every day when I went to go get my Starbucks coffee in the morning, but I tell you though that it has many names that come through there. So
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I could
I've been there
definitely see
twice.
you. I know, and I could definitely see you going there a lot more. I'm gonna definitely recommend it because I'm on. They asked me to come and fill in with them a lot, so I'm
Great.
gonna
Thank you,
definitely.
Michelle.
Yeah, no, you're. I'm just. This is an amazing interview.
Go
Thank you.
Jersey.
Good. Go
Jersey.
I love
Jersey.
it. I
Go
love it.
Jersey.
I love my East Coasters. Uh, Another question is from fans. Would you see yourself directing for television or film? And what would be your specialty that you would want to if to teach?
Um, yes, I would love to direct for television or film. I feel I have a lot to learn first before I would feel comfortable to get behind the camera. Um, it's because I worked in theater for so long before I ended up directing. Um, there was a lot that I knew already that I just had to trust that I knew it. There's a lot about TV and film that I haven't. I've worked in those mediums a bit. I haven't worked in it enough to feel comfortable that I know enough to be on the other end. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I can't. I just need to
I think you can.
I
You're a
need to
natural.
learn. I need to learn that side of it a little
The
bit better.
tech the technicality of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know Michelle's dying to get to this because we want to talk about the singing, the actual singing, and of course, you're an incredible singer. So go ahead, Michelle.
And me being the music person here. So, um, how did you learn to sing? Like, were you, obviously, I know you're Italian and we can all sing, but you sing, your voice projects like, oh my God, you don't even need a microphone. Like, it's unbelievable.
Um, First of all, I know some Italians that feel that they can't sing, uh, but I don't. I don't know. You know, I guess I was always self-conscious about singing. Um, I would do it privately. I would do it while I was cutting the lawn, so that the lawnmower would drown me out, and I would, be singing, Elton John or uh, all sorts of, Billy Joel or, rock music while I was cutting the lawn. And maybe it's because I had to overcome the lawnmower that made me get a bigger voice. I don't know, but that's how it began. I never had any kind of training until I actually started working. Um, so I don't know what more to say about it. I mean, thank you, God. I feel I'm blessed.
Well, most of it is breathing. Who's your vocal coach though? Who do you go with? Like, so if somebody,
I've had a number of really amazing teachers over my career. Uh, I worked with a woman by the name of Lou Rogers very early on in my career. Actually, it was when I was still in school. I worked with her. Um, she was great. I learned a lot from her. When I was working at the Light Opera of Manhattan, the producer there put me in touch with uh, a friend of his who was a teacher. He was an opera bass. His name was
wow,
Bob Baird, and
wow,
and he was very old school.
yeah,
I mean, I learned he did all sorts of things to me that would be considered torture these days. Like he would put a, a tight spring around my chest, and I would have to, expand my chest through that spring and try to breathe and sing that way. He would also lay me on my stomach on the floor and stand on my back, while and
wow.
this is probably,
Interesting.
like I said, it's probably considered torture these days, but it probably gave me a certain amount of strength. I mean, the man knew what he was doing, but it was an old school way of doing it.
I was gonna
Uh,
say.
I had a wonderful teacher uh, named Tony McDowell, who I feel I learned the real the real core of my voice through him, and unfortunately he's gone. He's passed. And uh, when I was doing Jekyll and Hyde, I had to learn a whole new style because I was a Broadway singer. I was a traditional Broadway singer. Rodgers and Hammerstein, Lerner and Lowe, that kind of style. And I had to learn pop and rock. So they put me in touch with a teacher by the name of Katie Agrista, who
Know her?
teaches a lot of teaches a lot of uh,
Pop rock.
pop rock people,
Yeah.
and I learned a whole new technique from her, and she changed my voice, completely. Um, so I've had some really great. I've been guided to some really great people, really great teachers in my career.
Yeah, she's great though for pop rock. I
Oh, do
mean,
you know her?
even John Bon Jovi still takes lessons from her.
Yes, he does.
So, I know, yeah, I know she's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, your voice is incredible. I was listening to one of
She's got
the
a favorite
songs.
song.
Yes. Uh, it was in This Is the Moment. This is the moment. It was so beautiful and so powerful. I just brought tears to my eyes. I just was like, yes, I can feel it. This is the moment.
Thank you.
And speaking of the moment, what is your moment, your greatest moment in your life thus far? It could be personal or professional. Just this is inspired by that song.
Wow. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could pinpoint a greatest. Um, I've had some pretty remarkable ones. Uh, that's hard to say, Holly. I mean, it's there's just been there have been so many of them, so many beautiful stepping stones that I've been on in the course of my life and in my career. Uh, and I look at things as stepping stones, and I don't dwell on moments in the past. Uh, I, I I I look at them and I appreciate them and I honor them, and I'm grateful for them. But I'm always looking for what that next thing is, and like I said, it's always surprising me. It's always something that I didn't expect. Um, Somebody calling me up and say, "Hey, you'd be perfect for this," and I'm like, "Really? Okay, let me give it a try." So it's things like that. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to pinpoint one moment in my life. There've been so many that have changed it, and they've been good moments and they've been bad moments, and they've been yeah, but they've all made me who I am.
You said it beautifully. It's each one has been a stepping stone to another event, another turning point in your life, and that's
And
beautiful. You have a lot of gratitude, and that's you have treasurable moments, I call them, in your
yeah,
life.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So I'm just going to come out and ask you because I know Holly wants one of the songs to be the opening to our show. How would we go about doing that? Tell the audience. I mean, I know how to do it because obviously we'd have to contact you and then contact, but just s- we she I mean, she really like was moved by it. She's like, you got to hear it. You got to hear it. And I heard it and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is like unbelievable." And it kind of fits our show.
Well, go ahead and use it.
This is the moment is the song that she's referring
It's
to.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Because it talks about that turning point. It feel the words are
yeah.
so beautiful. It's like a you've arrived at this moment. This is that moment, that turning point. And of course, like you just said, there's many turning points in life, and it keeps going. But it's just so uplifting and inspirational. Really
Thank
is.
you.
It's
That's a very that's a very personal song for me, you know, and I am so grateful that I have been honored with that song, uh, because it what I must have sung it, you know, over 1,000 times, you know, between well over that between performances and you know, one event or after another when someone have asked me to sing that song, and it's always different. It always comes out different because it's very it's very in the moment. It's very in the now. You know
from your soul.
yeah, what's going on now, and that's very much uh, how I kind of
It's
live my life.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. What type of microphone did you use to record that? Like, where did you record that at?
I have no
I'm
idea.
gonna get technical. No,
It was in a
it's
studio. I was just thrust in front of some sort of mic, and I'm sure it was wonderful.
you know what's
Michelle wants to do the remake. Watch out.
You
I'm
got the
gonna
air
pra-
for it. It's okay.
I'm I'm literally gonna practice that song because I usually practice Whitney Houston, "I Will Always Love You" or the Star Spangled Banner. That's what I warm up on, and that song is just so much power. It's very you don't hear music like that anymore.
Yeah, no, it's Frank Wildhorn can write. He can write.
Now, did you ever write any of your own originals or?
I tried when I was younger, when I was like high school and college, um, but I never uh, uh, committed myself that much to it. I'm not saying that I can't do it, and I'm not saying that it's I don't have the talent for it. I just have never really committed myself to it, so I don't know.
Hmm.
Now, you released a collection of standards from one of my favorite eras, the 30s and 40s,
Yeah,
The Look of Love. What inspired you to remake those songs?
I I was seeing a bunch of um, colleagues, other people in the theater, uh, coming up with solo albums, and I wanted to do that too. But I never could pinpoint what it was I wanted to do. Um, People would do certain composers that they were connected to in one way or another, emotionally connected to, and I had so many that I really enjoyed, that I loved singing. So I had a hard time really trying to figure out what I was passionate about. And then I started listening to the standards. For some reason, I was never a big Sinatra fan. I'm always late to the party. Whenever there is uh, a hit TV show, or if there's a band, whether it's the Beatles or something like that, I am the last person to get on the train because it's something I resist. Um, I don't know why. It's just something that I would always resist. But
You,
I ended up starting listening to the standards, and I would listen to Sinatra. And in my adult years, I would listen. I'm like I'm like, now I get it. Now I get it. And um, uh, I listened to Tony Bennett
Mm.
and younger Tony Bennett, and because his voice was more like mine, uh, and uh, others of that time, and I would listen to the lyrics, and I'm like, these really speak to me, and actually they speak to me in a way that I can see the progression of my life in love, uh, both the beginning of it, the crescendo of it, and the demise of it until the next one came, and on and on. So I said, this is I feel my heart in this music. I feel connected to this music, and that's why I chose to do it. And I also found a way that the lyrics, without without giving dialogue, without me talking, really told the story. If you just listen to the lyric from one song to the next, you get the whole arc of the story. So that's what attracted me, and
Beautiful.
that's why I recorded those tunes.
hmm.
Oh, I love that music. I
Yeah,
absolutely do. It speaks to the heart, to the love. It's just such a beautiful time.
yeah.
I
What is
think
your
they
favorite?
expressed.
I'm sorry, I was going to say, what is your favorite song to sing?
As in style of song,
Yeah.
it's always rock.
Who's your
I'm
favorite
just
band?
I'm just like an old rocker. That's I just in many ways, but I just I love 80s rock.
80s rock. What band? Come on. You got to tell us.
Well, actually, uh, I would warm up to Lou Gramm in Foreigner,
Wow.
uh, to Steve Perry, Journey. Those are my two biggies.
That's my era.
Uh, Elton John was always a big favorite. Billy Joel was always a big favorite. You know, the Long Island Connection. Um, yeah, any kind of like '80s rock, Meatloaf. You know, anything like. Just love all that stuff.
Meatloaf. That one album lasted what, 8 years, 9 years before they even
Yeah,
really
it's
had
still
another.
going strong.
I still rock to that. I could relate to that so much. Um,
Tell us about Don Quixote, uh, and your role in that play to me is just amazing.
That's one of my that's one of my favorite musicals, and that's a role that I always dreamed of playing. That's a role that I would like to play again. Um, it's uh, it's me to a large extent. Uh, I'm a big throwback to chivalry, um, to the romanticism of it, to um, the quest. You know, it's just it's I'm just very connected to that character and to that time period. Um, I don't know if you believe in reincarnation. I was probably
I
uh,
I do.
I was probably in that. You know, that's one of my worlds.
That is one of my favorite, and that The Impossible Dream. I actually used to play it on the piano when I was a little kid. So
Yeah, it's
that
one of
was
my favorite songs. That's
yeah,
one that I always love singing.
yeah. Well, I hope you do it again. And
I hope
we
so
want
too.
let's talk a little bit about the soaps. I know Michelle was interested too. You did soaps. They're usually very fast paced. How did it feel going from theater to soap?
Uh, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was fast. You you just have to. It's you learn those lines and you gotta crank those lines out. Uh, and I never had to deal with being a contract player where you know you got a new script every single day, and you had to get rid of anything that was in your head, and you have to put this in there to be in there for the next 6 hours, and then get rid of that and have a new one come. I've never had to do anything that badly, that that intensely. Um, I've done recurring roles on most, well, certainly all the ABC soaps in New York. Loving All My Children, The Guiding Light, um, you know, all the One Life, you know, all of those. Uh, so I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. I had some real fun roles to do, and some were real short lived, but I had some really good ones. It was fun.
nice. Which one did you like the best, though? I didn't know you were on Loving. I liked that show. I knew the other
I
one.
think I think I enjoyed All My Children the most because I actually got to work with Susan Lucci.
I was gonna
I have
say
a few friends on that, so
Erica
um,
Kane.
yeah,
Yeah,
Jamie Lunar is on that show. So
she was really lovely. She
Yeah.
was really sweet and fun to work with.
yeah, that where did that tape in Unitel?
What's that?
Did that tape in Unitel, or that was One Life to Live taped in Unitel on
Uh, you're gonna have to look. Where's Unitil?
50th and 10th or 11th, maybe?
Oh yeah, that's that. Yes, that was All My Children.
Yeah, I remember because I used to do stuff out there, and I don't. But that I used to see all the soap stars, and it was just
Yeah,
they used to come
yeah.
out, and I used to be like, You look
There
like
used
a
to be a line
Thursday.
outside that door all the time.
Yeah, that was right down the block from Lisa's house. So we used to see it all the time. But
That's it. I'm going to New York.
New York is, listen, if
I
you want
love
to,
New York.
but if
I
you
do.
want to
And
hit it big, seriously, if you want to hit it big, I don't care what anyone says. Obviously, California is the place for movies, but New York City is the place you need to go to. Am I right or am I wrong? You have
Well,
to
if you want a
experience.
stage career, you do. Yeah.
yeah.
Certainly, if you want a film career or a film career, I would say LA. But I mean, for TV, you can do that on either place, really. I mean, there's a lot of TV in New York. There's a lot of film going on in New York
New
too.
Jersey too. Look at the. I could see you on The Sopranos. Like I don't even know why they didn't put you on The Sopranos.
No, I didn't get there. They didn't hire me.
Who's your agent? Let me step her up. No.
Oh, it wasn't their fault.
His agent's watching this.
It wasn't their
No,
fault.
I'm just saying I'm gonna go visit now that I have friends there. I'm gonna go visit. I cannot wait to
So
go see a Broadway play there, and I know they're darkened until at least May of 2021. So, but I look forward to it.
Yeah, well, you wait until it opens up because you're going to see a lot of joy once
I
that
don't know why they just
that
don't
happens
have you
again.
guys, you know, do the play on stage and then put everyone in the audience on the Zoom. You know, because it's. I mean, like they do with baseball and basketball. They could really do that with live plays because there's nothing like that.
Yeah, I don't
But
know
then
how that. I don't know how that would work. I don't know what kind of money they could make on that.
Mm.
they might be able to make more, believe it or not. Mechanical merchandise. You can listen when it comes to 10x in it. We're the ones that they need to talk to.
Well,
I'm telling you.
I know that they are filming certain musicals in that way, in that, people are on stage and they're filming it and then they are streaming it. So they are doing something
Yeah, they
like that,
should be. They should be. I mean,
doing
it's
whatever they can. Yeah.
because you could definitely stand 6 feet apart from somebody to do your lines. I mean, you don't have to do it like
Well,
love scenes or
it's
anything.
it,
But
not really, not, not really. You would have to. They would have to. They'd have to quarantine the cast. They would
yeah,
have to monitor the cast and quarantine the cast for the length before you started uh, doing doing the show. If you want to do it live, you've got to quarantine that cast or test them every single day. So it's it's quite an undertaking.
Yeah.
yeah. I guess. Yeah, I can imagine that. I
Well,
can.
thank you, Robert. It has been such a pleasure to have you. I am
Well,
so happy that you chose to stop by and share about your career, your life, and the opportunity to meet you. What is in the future for you? What does life look like ahead?
uh, more Zooms for the time
Zoom a
being.
zoom zoom.
There's a
Yeah.
Zoom. I will be doing a reading for the Red Bull Theater Company uh,
Nice.
of a play called King or No King. That will be in December. Um, you should go to the Red Bull Theater website for that information. I'm not quite sure what the date is on that just yet. Uh, I'm doing uh, it's called a Shakespeare Book Club with the uh, Shakespeare Theater New Jersey. I'm doing that online, and that is on the 24th, November 24th, and we'll be talking about Antony and Cleopatra, Julius Caesar, and Caesar and Cleopatra. Uh, so that should be an exciting conversation.
What are the links to those?
Uh,
The Red Bull
the
Theater.
Red Bull, it's the one, yes, the Red Bull Theater uh,
.com.
.com, I guess.
Mhm.
And it's shakespearenj.org, www.shakespearenj.org. And that's for the Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey.
And people can also go to you at robertcuccioli.com.
Yeah,
And are you on social media as well?
I am. I have a fan page on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm also Twittering whenever I remember that I have it.
I'm going to follow you on
Okay.
Twitter.
So yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. So before we close, I like to do 3 sentences, little fun thing. I start them and you finish them.
Oh no, this could get me
Are
in
you ready?
trouble.
I promise I won't get you in trouble. Man's most important treasure.
Woman,
I'd like the children of the future to know.
that there's hope.
The greatest expression of one's passion is.
Their voice.
Thank you. That was
That was
brilliant.
awesome.
Did I
Ladies
get
and
myself in
gentlemen,
trouble?
ladies and gentlemen, this has been Robert Cuccioli. Please follow on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and you can find him at robertcuccioli.com, and that is Cuccioli. Did I did that correctly?
That's perfect. Yes.
So thank you for tuning in. You can watch, again, this is a courtesy of Mupo TV. You can watch us on www.mupoentertainment.com. Again, that is www.mupoentertainment.com. And as always, this is Holly Lombardi with Mupo and Friends and our extremely incredible CEO, mastermind, and host of Mupo
Wow.
and Friends, Michelle Mupo. Thank you all, and thank you, Robert
Thank you,
Cuccioli,
ladies.
again.
It was
Thank you
a
for
pleasure being
visiting
with
with
you.
us.
Yeah.
And as always, we are over and out.